The show begins with a girl called Lara who is being chased by a village tribe for trespassing their area. The way she dodged their arrows and attacks, it's obvious that she's a professional adventurer. Just as the villagers were about to get hold of her, she takes a risky jump to the other side of the mountain. The villagers, seeing it's too dangerous to jump, decided to retreat. Lara opens her map, and as she climbs to the mountain top, she finally found what she's looking for, which is the House of the Jaguar, a place where a very special artifact is kept. She informs her uncle Roth on the radio that she has found it and pinpoints her location to him. Just as she expected, she sees so many obstacles and traps set to stop anyone from entering the house. After avoiding the spiked pit, she comes across an uncrossable bridge, but she is able to cross it using a rope. In the process of her doing that, she falls into a river. She tries to find her way out of the river, but she gets attacked by an alligator. Lara manages to get out, but the alligator bites her leg and drags her into the water. Thanks to her dagger, she killed the creature and comes out of the danger. Lara gains access into the House of the Jaguar and sees the artifact. In her mind, she wishes her dad is alive to see this. Her uncle Roth meets her inside the house, and as they both head straight for the artifact, Lara tells Roth of the legend she heard that anyone who touches the artifact instantly becomes wealthy. Lara sees a drawing on the wall and becomes scared as she feels that there might be consequences for taking the artifact, which is revealed to be the Chinese jade stone. Roth tells her not to be afraid, that they are only carvings, and applauds her for finishing the adventure her father started. They suddenly get apprehended by the villagers, who threatens them to return the stone as it will only bring death and destruction, but Roth doesn't see them as protectors but just another adventurers who wants their treasure, so he fights them. Lara and Roth are so skilled that even though they were outnumbered, they still took out the men. The scene fast forward to 3 years later, where we see Lara wrestling with a woman at the village of Peru. Lara is beaten up here like a little child, but just as she saw flashes of how Roth was killed, she immediately overpowers her opponent. Yes, her uncle Roth is dead. He was killed on their way back from their last adventure. Lara receives a call from her friend Jonah, who asks her when she is going to come home because it's been 6 months she left, and she had promised to spend Christmas with them. He knows she doesn't want to return because she hasn't gotten over Roth's death, and begs her not to keep beating herself about this but instead return home and let her friends help her to restart life. 1 month later, Lara finally returns home. In her father's mansion, she began to pack all the artifacts she, her father, and her uncle acquired to burn them down, as she believes that will help her start over and forget about the loss. Her friends Jonah and Zip rushed inside when the alarm informed them of an infiltrator, but they are surprised to see it's Lara. They explain that they wired her father's house to keep watch of the artifact since she wasn't around to protect them. Her friends tells her it's not a good idea to burn these artifacts to the ground, but she should instead put up an auction where the rich people can buy them instead. Later that night, after her friends left, Lara continues to have nightmares about Roth's death and how he sacrificed himself to save her. A donation gala is later held, as Lara will be donating all of her father's and uncle's special artifact to the town's museum. Just as the auction is about to begin, she goes out to have a quiet moment for herself, but she senses someone sneaking inside her father's mansion. She sees a person in mask trying to steal a jade stone from her dad's mansion and tells him to drop it, but he instead attacks her. The masked person turns out to be as skilled as Lara. He runs out and escapes out of the place with his power bike. Lara couldn't let him get away and takes the car of a rich attendant to chase the masked person. She calls Zip since he placed trackers of every artifact in the mansion to help her find the masked person. Zip tells her he is heading towards the river and gives her directions. The masked person takes a side road with his bike to lose trace of her, and although Zip warns her how risky it will be for her to pass through with the car, she doesn't listen because she has a plan. Lara storms out with a bicycle she found on the street, and the chase continues until they got to the river, where the masked person manages to escape from her using a boat. The thief removes his mask, and Lara recognizes him to be one of the attendant of the auction. There are hundreds of artifacts here, which leaves Lara wondering why the thief would steal the jade stone. Lara quickly enters her father's room to make her research about the stone. She finds out that there is actually 4 stones, and each of them have special powers. The jade stone the thief stole has the ability to control minds. Lara asks Zip where the thief is heading to, but Jonah is against her going because she just got home, and he needs her at his wedding happening in 1 week. But this is the last thing her and Roth found before he died, so it's important for her to find it. Zip informs her that the thief is heading for Beijing, and Lara figures he is going after the other stones and begins her adventure to find him. Lara arrives at Beijing, but got confused because the tracking signal she was following went dark somewhere around here. The boat sailor tells her that there is nothing around here except for the fishing villages and the old ruins. About the old ruins, the shrine of the great emperor Tianxi is said to be out there. They say the gods gave him the power to make China great by gifting him a magical ruby, but a fox spirit called Daji seduced him, took his powers, and nearly destroyed China with it. Lara figures it's the second stone the sailor is talking about, and that's what the thief is after. The sailor stops her at the village where she can find the shrine. She meets with the village elder to help lead her to the shrine, but she sees Lara as a threat and gathers her boys. Jonah shows up and calms the situation by paying his respect to the elder, telling her to forgive Lara manners. After talking with the village elder, she agrees to finally hear what Lara has to say. The village elder agrees to give Lara a guide to the sacred shrine, but she must have to do something for her first. Her 6 children has all gone missing in the last 2 days, and believe it's the doing of the fox spirit and wants Lara to find them. She is accompanied by Jonah on this quest, and just as they get inside the cave, they get attacked by a demon. They manage to escape only to see an ancient drawing on the wall. Lara finds out that the fox spirit took the ruby stone from the emperor because she felt it was poisoning him and gave it to the sisters of Nuwa, the nuns, to hide it away forever. Lara finds the box of the second stone, but as she opens it, she doesn't find the ruby inside it. Just then, the whole cave begins to crumble. Lara sees a spirit in form of a child and follows it only to see the village elder's 6 children around the coffin of the fox spirit. The children are in a kind of trance, and just as Lara reads a write-up in the coffin, Lara realizes that the fox spirit used the children to lure them to this place so they can set her free. Jonah is against our idea, saying they should just get the kids out, but Lara uses her weapon to open the coffin, freeing the fox spirit. They get trapped in the cave as the whole place is covered with lava. Lara calls on the fox spirit to help them, and she shows them a way out of the cave. Just as Jonah leads the children out of the cave, the fox spirit appears to Lara in her full form to thank her, then disappears. In return for bringing back their children, the village elder returns the favor by offering them a guide to the shrine, but Lara tells her the shrine doesn't have what she's looking for anymore and leaves the village with Jonah. A storm comes out from nowhere and destroys their boat. Lara manages to survive this disaster, but when she doesn't find Jonah on the island, she cries, believing him to be dead. She calls Zip to inform him about the bad news. He begs her to come home, but Lara wants to finish what she came out here to do. She wants to know why the stones are so important. Zip immediately flies to Beijing to help her out on this quest. He follows Lara to the Beijing base of the library, an international guild that restores artifacts, repairs them, or returns them to their native home if they have been stolen. She meets with the manager of the place called Eva and gives an artifact called the Sword of Divinity so Eva in exchange can give her information of the 4 stones called the Peril Stones. Eva tells them a story that before life, chaos and order waged war with each other until the goddess Nu attained them. After the balance that followed, the humans was created, but soon mankind became greedy, violent, and wicked, which triggered chaos that almost destroyed the world. To save the world, the goddess trapped mankind 4 greatest evil, which are power, wrath, greed, and betrayal, and contained their essence in 4 gemstones. She then disposed the stones to different corners of the world so no human can ever find them and unleash their powers again. It is because of the goddess the world has remained in perfect balance till this very day. Eva concludes that if the Peril Stones are brought together, the world will dissolve into chaos again. During lunch, Zit finds out that a family surname keeps popping up in criminal records, as far back since the 11th century. There are rumors the family is cursed, and a father from the family recently killed his 3 children, and before he was executed, he confessed it was his wife who made him do it with her magic jewelry. Yes, the magic jewelry is the ruby stone, and according to Zip research, the stone is now in their daughter's possession, Kaya. Lara decided to sneak inside Kaya mansion to take the stone, but from Zip drone, she finds out the mansion is guarded by lots of security. Lara is met by that thief that stole the first stone from her. He introduced himself as Charles and reveals he is gathering the Peril Stones because they are capable of giving him power. Power to rule the world, power to inspire generations, and power to defeat fascists. He mainly wants to use them to take out the Light, the secret society that killed his father. Lara tells him that stones together will only bring chaos to the world, but Charles doesn't care and warns Lara to stay out of his way in getting the other stones or he will kill her. After a whole while, Lara quietly climbs the walls of Kaya Mansion and sees Kaya, who turns out to be wearing the stone with her eyes glowing red. To create a distraction, Lara releases the tigers kept in the cage in the place, which begins to attack the guard. This makes Kaya distracted, giving Lara the chance to take the stone from her. The stone corrupts Lara's mind, making her strong and aggressive. She kills every of the guards, but after seeing blood on her palm, she comes back to her senses and throws the stone away. Lara places it inside its box, and just as the other guards try to shoot her, Kaya orders them to stop and tells Lara to take it far away from her as the stone has been making her to do evil things. Charles uses the Jade Stone, which can be used to control people's mind, to his advantage. It turns out that Jonah is still alive, but he is no longer himself, as Charles is in control of his mind because of the Jade Stone. Charles uses Jonah to collect the Ruby Stone from Lara and merges the Ruby Stone and the Jade Stone together, which caused a massive explosion. Zip wakes Lara from unconsciousness, and she sees the whole town a big mess. Charles is unleashing chaos by messing with the stones. Since he wants to take revenge on the secret society that killed his father, Lara wants to find more about this society, believing with the information about them she might know where Charles is going next. She asks Zip to go back home because she cannot save Jonah, stop Charles, and also protect him. Lara goes to an Interpol agent house, a person who she grew up with called Camilla, to find some information about this secret society called the Light. Camilla catches Lara inside her house, but decided to help her by telling her about the society. The Light is a secret society that started in Paris and are descendants of the Knights Templar. Religious and political leaders have been disappearing, and according to her investigation, Camilla found out that those deaths were caused by the Light. The Light are removing people who are capable of challenging them, quietly amassing power. That's their goal. She asks him about Charles' father called Devereaux. Camilla does a little research and finds out he is a priest who was murdered by the Light 40 years ago. Later that night, they go to Devereaux Church to find out why the Light killed him. They come across the picture of Jacques de Molay, leader of the Knight Templars in the 14th century. The Knight Templars were created to protect Christians traveling through the Holy Land, but when they returned from the Crusades, something went wrong. Legend says the Knight Templars began to worship a disembodied head called Baphomet, a demon. When the Pope found out, he executed every Templar he could find, starting with their leader Molay. Molay's final words was a curse on the church. They find a secret passageway inside the church and enter it as they want to find the connection between the Templars and the Light. Lara and Camilla decided to split up to cover more grounds. Lara sees the statue of Baphomet and also sees a drawing, making her realize the third stone, the Golden Peril Stone, was at this place. She also finds out that the few Templar who survived became the secret society of today, the Light. Suddenly, Lara began to see so many illusions of her young life. During the illusions, Lara and Camilla gets attacked by some cultists, followers of the Light, but with their unity, the both girls were to take them down. Lara gives Camilla the reason she wants to know about Devereaux. Devereaux's son Charles now has 2 Peril Stones in his possession, and the world is in danger. Lara figures that the next stone is in Iran, and that's where Charles is going. Quickly, she goes to see one of her old friend called Leo and begs him to give her a ride to Iran. Just as Lara arrives there and jumps out of the plane, a massive explosion occurs on the ground. It affected her parachute, but luckily she has a backup parachute which she used to land safely. Due to the explosion, Lara realizes that Charles has found the golden stone and has combined it with the other stones. She sees Charles inside the train and follows it with her bike. Lara manages to get inside the train and sees all the passengers' eyes glowing green, which means Charles has already used a Jade Stone to gain control of their mind, including Jonah, whom we see serving food to Charles. Lara aims her arrow to Charles, but one of the passengers under his manipulation used his body to protect him. He orders Jonah to kill her. Jonah throws her out of the train, but she jumps back in and hits the stone from Charles' hand and frees Jonah from his mind control. She escaped with Jonah out of the train, and Jonah, who was formerly mind controlled by Charles, reveals to have little of his memories. He tells her that Charles will be going to Zulu to get the final stone, the Stone of Greed. Lara, Zip, and Jonah immediately visited the library to find information about the place Zulu and its location. Lara is able to find out that Zulu is a place where the biggest war among the Chinese people occurred. It was a war between 3 brothers that forced the creation of China. Each of the brothers wanted to be emperor, so they met at the Battle of Zulu. It is said that one of the brothers possessed a black stone that made him exceptionally powerful. He was defeated when the 2 brothers joined forces and decapitated him. Charles is going to the site of the ancient battle, as it is said that the black stone was buried there. They get a call from Jonah's wife, who tells them to go outside. They see the sky has turned green, and this is happening in all countries, which means the world is no longer in balance. Lara and Jonah goes to the site of the battle, but are shocked to see the place is already being turned to a theme park. She is disappointed as finding the stone will be much harder, but turns out for good when she hears the tourist guide say the emperor tomb was right beneath the golden ancestral tree. Lara heads towards the tree, and as she looks for a way to find where the black stone is, she is being dragged out by the theme park security guards. Lara finds out from the tourist guide that even though they celebrate this place as the site of the Battle of Zulu, here is not actually where the battle happened. According to a movie they watched there, Lara and Jonah go to the mountain where the stone is. After they solve the puzzle of the Chinese zodiac animals, a strange energy comes out and teleports them to Mongolia. Frustratingly, they discover that Charles is already there looking for the stone. Lara finds the tomb of the emperor, but it's already too late as Charles has gained possession of the stone. Just as he merged the 4 stones together, Lara tries to stop him, but she's being thrown off a cliff. She sees Daji in a trance who advise her to find balance in herself first before she can restore balance in the world. Lara and Jonah found themselves in a local village where they are being treated by the villagers. As they continue their quest, they are met by Camilla and her Interpol team who wants to stop Charles as he is about to slaughter some light members he captured. They all go to stop him, but Charles used the 4 stones and transform into an ancient beast. Lara is able to take the red stone, and according to what Goddess Nua told her, she finds balance in herself, making the stone not to control her. Together with Camilla, they defeat Charles. Charles is arrested by the Interpol, but it's not get over as she embarks on a journey with Jonah to the Kunlun Mountain, which is a place where Goddess Nua created the stones. They arrived at the mountain, and they see flowers and animals that has been extinct for millions of years. Lara finds the Goddess Nua temple and places the stones back where they belong. The world returns back to balance, and that was how the show ended. Thank you for watching, guys. If you love animation movies, please subscribe to this channel and keep watching. Bye.